Hollis only felt his eyes open. Though the lids parted, he only saw darkness. He blinked madly, fearing that he had been blinded, until he realized that the darkness was in front of his eyes, not in them. He could smell sweat and blood soaking his clothes. The dress polo he wore for employee picture day, and the slacks Meg said made his butt look good. But that was not all his senses picked up. He could feel canvas wrapped about his head, and see ripples in the dark where creases crossed the fabric. The sounds around him were muffled, but he thought he could make out the whine of an electric motor and the whooshing of air at a half-open window. The last thing he remembered was running for the emergency exit when the lunch hall ceiling began falling. Where was he? Was he in a car? What happened? Damn it, he thought. I should have stayed home like Meg told me to.
Yeah, boss is gonna be pleased, don't you think?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be happy, alright?
Really gonna like this one. I can't believe we found one. I don't know how that fucker managed to get out of the room where all the others were, but...
Yeah, he must have run quick.
We'll make good use of them yet.
Yeah, we're probably gonna make a video with him or something.
Where am I?
Hey, I think he's talking.
Hey, shut up!
Yeah, shut up!
No, where am I? Please tell me where I am.
Oh, okay, fine. You wanna know where you are? You're kidnapped. Yeah, you're in the back of a car and we're driving you off to our headquarters.
Are you serious?
I'm
I'm just a worker.
Bullshit!
I'm
No,
not one
you're
of the
not.
big wigs. I don't own any of the company.
Don't
You're
give me
not
that
gonna get
bullshit.
anything for me.
You were wearing one of the suits, weren't you? You weren't wearing the general operator's uniform. I think you know exactly what you are.
Please just let me go.
Yeah, like that's gonna
I have a
happen.
wife, a cat.
Like
I'm
I
supposed
care.
to be moving to Virginia. I'm not even going to be working for the power plants anymore.
I don't care how much
And
you
for the
don't
last
want to be
time,
working.
I'm not someone that owns one.
Honestly, punk, I could care less. You work for one, you make them money, you're my enemy.
Yeah, you're my enemy too. You're enemy of the world.
Please, just let me go. You're not going to get anything for me.
Alright, so maybe we should just kill him.
Please.
I didn't want to listen to this.
I say we shut him up.
Alright.
No.
The light was blinding. With the canvas yanked from his head to expose unprepared eyes, Hollis could hardly make out what was in front of him. Move it, beckoned one of his handlers. We don't have all day for you to snail your way in. A sharp prod to Hollis's side drove him off balance, but he regained his footing and continued walking. What was he seeing? It looked as though he were near something industrial. Traces of construction entered his vision. But wait, what was the structure they were walking toward? A tall stack protruded from the roof, and glass windows made up the perimeter of the building. Could it be a... No, the irony would be too much. But was it? In the wake of the Detroit steam plant bombing, Antifa banners began appearing all over the nation. The domestic terror group had made its first major strike and had begun aggressively recruiting, with their motto, "End the pollution, save the planet," being spread under the guise of environmentalism, once normal protesters were joining the group seeking to be a part of the movement. Though the mainstream media extensively covered the catastrophe in Michigan, most Americans were getting their news from Facebook and other online sources, which failed to depict the horrors that had occurred and the devastation to the Detroit community. An emergency order by the FBI directed law enforcement nationwide to document the location of and remove any Antifa banners found, and to arrest the person or persons hanging said banners if possible. Spearheaded by Meg Pultz, a movement began to spread awareness about the evil of Antifa. After speaking at a memorial to those lost at the plant bombing, she organized others in her community to begin posting anti-Antifa posters around the state. Support flooded to Meg for her efforts, and soon steam workers and their families around the country began doing likewise. The posters were simple, encouraging people to stick together and to report any suspected Antifa activity to FBI via the new hotline that had been implemented. "Get up!" shouted a figure from the door as it swung open. "It's time to make yourself useful." Hollis blinked wearily at the bright light flooding the cramped room he had been locked in. "I said get up," the figure growled again. This must have been Boss, as the other Antifa members called her. The woman was small in stature, but held an angry, malicious air about her. Her face wrinkled in fury at Hollis's lack of movement from the corner of the room. "Bring him to the camera room," she bellowed down the hall. "If he has to come in pieces, that's his choice." Hands tied, Hollis was shoved onto the floor in front of a large Antifa banner with a camera pointing at it. Will this ever end? He thought to himself.
Breaking news.
Speak! My name is Hollis Pultz. I'm being held hostage by Antifa. They have demands for my release. I believe they've already made those known. I should not have to repeat them on this godforsaken camera.
Finish it!
They demand that all the coal-fired steam power plants in Virginia and Michigan and Kentucky be dismantled by Monday evening. They want the smokestacks demolished. They want the coal burners filled with water and also cut open by plasma cutter, barring their reuse in the future. They also have some demands for the welfare of the children in the various cities with the fog cough. All these demands must be met for me to be released to my family, my wife, and my cat. Please meet their demands.
You better meet our demands. Otherwise, he's going to be boiled alive in steam on live TV.
He did not know this day would come. The weeks of confinement before his rescue were grueling. Had the FBI task force not arrived the day before, the Antifa butchers would have slain him, as they did so many of the people he knew from the plant. Finally, After having already said his final prayers in the compound, the one he had prayed for most vigorously was answered. The pale freckled skin, the shimmering blonde hair, the teary bright blue eyes, and the worry-worn frantic smile of his beloved Meg poured over him as a sunrise brings light to a dark place. Body frozen with the realization that he got to see his wife again, he stood slumped and still. "I love you," she said quietly through tears. "I love you too."